Hello, I'm Bronwyn, and welcome to Breaking Out of the Box, a podcast about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. This is our first episode titled Support, a Different Thought, or Care Inc., in reference to our first guest, Mr. Jaron Kingston, a disability support worker here in Hobart who has a very nice collection of ink. Welcome, Jaron. It's very nice to have you.
Thanks for having me on.
Can I start by asking you how you got into disability support work and how long you... Tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 26 years old and I've been in the disability support industry for three and a half years. And I got into it just solely because I've always loved helping people. I've always kind of put people ahead of me. I always put them first. Just seeing evolution, seeing growth is always so satisfying.
You mean growth in your clients?
Yeah. So just starting from the basics and seeing how they are to this day is it's amazing.
Okay. And how did you first apply for a job in disability support?
Well, it's funny because I went to St. Giles and I put in my resume, and knowing I had no experience and stuff like that, I just solely on the sole purpose of I just wanted to work in this industry. And then I actually got the opportunity to get the interview without saying any of that. They just looked at my resume, even though it clearly say there's no experience on there. Just got some certificates of, here and there. And then I dressed up fully covered, so no tattoos were showing, no nothing. They asked me all these questions and I just aced them. It was just more than what they wanted, they expected. It wasn't just a one-word answer. It was a full sentence and an example. And so at the end of the interview, I was completely honest. I said, I've got no experience. This is something I'm really passionate about. And also, is it bad that I've got tattoos? And I showed them and stuff like that. And they said, no, they're not offensive in that. And it just blew my mind because back in the day, not even that long ago, tattoos were an instant no, resume in the bin. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And then I got the call and I got the job.
And training, they provided you with some training?
Yeah, I obviously couldn't work with a client unless I got some training in. So I got the job. But I couldn't work with a client until I did all my certificates and stuff like that. It didn't take that long, and I worked with clients that suited what I was qualified for. So I couldn't do medications until I did the medications, and then there were manual handling ones, say if I had to deal with someone in a wheelchair, which I do currently now. But yeah, so I couldn't do all that until I was finished.
Okay. Okay, now I've done a little bit of research, and about 3 years ago the National Disability Service did a fairly extensive review of the workforce, and that showed that about 70% are female, which means only 30% of the disability support workforce is male, and the majority of those are in an older age group between 45 and 54. So it's an ageing workforce and one that's very, very low on young men. And that's something that they are working on. They have said that they need to increase the proportion of young men they have to better serve the communities that they're supporting. What's your take on that?
Well, through experience, there's hardly any young males, hardly males in general, but everyone's been there because let's say with the ladies, they've been there for ages because they love their job. With the males, we definitely need young males for the fact that with my clients, they're all males themselves and they require someone to relate to them, have the strength, which, that's what the young males, that's what they're after. Say, to push in the wheelchair, to carry them from out of bed into, just into baths and stuff like that. It's pretty tough. It's even for me, it's quite straining. But I go above beyond as well. I've got a client who's in a wheelchair, and I'll take him to the skate park and that.
I've seen you with him at the skate park.
Yes.
And I can see that you're young and very fit, but I've got to tell you, you were sweating at one point.
Yes. I've been doing it for a few years, and it's still it's a tough job. Like, it's a few kilos. He loves it, and he feels like he's like every other kid that's there.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's quite popular at the parks as well. Like, everyone wants to be his friend. Everyone's encouraging him to do the bigger ramps and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think there are certain stereotypes operating in society that keep young men away from disability support work?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say that a lot of males would think it's more for females, as you know, males, talking about stereotypes, usually go for trades, like working on cars and stuff. But that's never been my forte. Like, I've always been the caring type. And, and having tattoos and stuff also makes you think, I can't get into this. But yeah.
So perhaps also they think that it's not a viable long-term career path as well?
Well, yeah, because it is quite hard to get into disability and have a full contract of hours and stuff, long shifts, because you're required to have clients that need you 24/7 or the same days, same times every day of the week. It's just not possible. And there's also other carers. So when you're sick, they take over.
Yeah.
You've got to share it. Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, actually, because it's a lot of young men think we want something that's going somewhere, that's going to offer some sort of career progression, and they probably look at it as something that's mostly casual. But in fact, I think most providers try to provide a permanent part-time.
Yeah, I definitely recommend doing it straight away as casual as I did. I had two jobs. I was working at Woolworths for 6 years, night fill. And then I had St. Giles as the casual job. And then I grew my reputation and scored myself 4 clients, the same 4 clients for the 3.5 years.
So there is a career progression, and you've seen that
Yes.
firsthand. Yeah. Okay. Now, can you tell me a little bit about some of your clients and just in general and how they've benefited from having a young man assisting them?
Like I said before, with the one in the wheelchair, he's a young boy. He requires a lot of strength because you got to pop deassemble the wheelchair, pop it in the car, carry him in and out of the car onto the chair, assist him with the toilet. He can do a lot of that stuff on his own, but just in case it doesn't fall, pushing him around for, say, you've got a 4-hour shift, you've got to be pushing around, walking around for 4 hours, and not only doing that, you've got to relate to them and be their best mate. And I've got experience with other countries, cultures, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've met your Nepalese client.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Nepalese family, they treat me like their family. And it's like I'm their son, and he's my brother, and I take him out and he adores me. He hates me. He hates seeing me leave and stuff. And
no, but I could also observe that he's relating to you as a peer, basically, as a young man on the same sort of level as he is.
Yeah. I'm teaching him as well as just trying to teach him life skills, more English as well. So he picks up more of keywords I say. We go from keywords to full on sentences and stuff like that.
Well, I noticed your communication with him is very good, even
with the restriction of communication.
I also enjoyed being in the car with the headbanging Nepalese pop tune going.
He loves his music. He
does, yeah.
Music, and he loves to he pretends he's a YouTube star himself.
Okay, and you have an older client, slightly older client, who's learning a few life skills?
Yeah, I've got one. He's still younger than me, but only by a couple of years, and he just needs some life skills because he's got without getting into the details, he's got some family problems that he's going through, and he needs to be prepared for if something happens, that he can do stuff on his own.
So
Like just little life skill things like changing light bulbs, mixing 2-stroke oil, petrol, and just cooking his own meals.
And you can, because you're sort of basically a very similar age group to him, you can relate to.
Definitely. He's got lots of stuff in his house that it's just right up my alley, and we can talk about that throughout the whole shift while we're doing stuff to make it fun, not make it feel like a job, and not make me feel like a carer. I'm like, again, like referring before, being their best friend, being their like brother and stuff like that.
Okay, which is something probably not to be disparaging of older men, but something perhaps a man who's in his 50s.
Yes, the one in the wheelchair has told me in the few words he can say. He had one that was quite old, and he didn't even know what an Xbox was. So, yeah, that just goes to show that he couldn't relate like as well as what I could with the boy.
So relatability is really important for young boys and men who have a disability.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's
just so it doesn't feel like a carer.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense.
And no matter what country they're from or what they've what disability they've got, I treat them all the same. And like people would ask me, oh, what would this person have? Even though I wouldn't say because breach of personal stuff, but it's also that I don't treat them any different to what they've got, so I actually don't read up what they've got. Like, it's only important for their medication, but apart from that, no, I don't.
So apart from their disability, you just relate to them as people.
Yeah. I do everything the same with them. It's just probably a little bit different when it comes to like routine wise, but talking with them and relating with them, no different.
Well, I've seen it in action, and I'm got to tell you, I was very impressed. Now, do you have any ideas about how the disability support sector, could work to increase the number of young men like yourself taking up the job?
Yeah, well, I guess not a lot of people know that like there's not a lot of males in the area unless you've either done the research, you work in the area, or you've got people like with carers in you need carers in your family. So the only way to really do it is just get the word out there, advertise for positions available, and to say like that it's needed, it's wanted.
Yeah. And
that might actually convince the guys that might have an interest in it but not thinking they have a chance and stuff like I did. I didn't think I had a chance. Just go for it because they actually are looking for young male workers, because all my clients basically have just me or one other person, and it's very hard to call in sick because no one can replace me.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, it's important for your clients to have continuity and consistency of care as well. And once they've got a good relationship with you, you want to keep that going.
Yes.
Yeah. So actually sort of making it plain that it is a job where you can form relationships with your clients and maintain those and do something valuable.
Yeah.
At the same time.
It never feels like work. It's like it's just seeing them. Like it's like going to go catch up with your friend, but you're seeing your friend like grow and like go from not being able to cook noodles to cooking up like a 3-course meal.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm one of those people who didn't really think about it. But I've done the research, and I know you obviously, and I know that that's what you do, which has prompted me to investigate it. I think something like maybe showcasing young men like yourself is probably also a good idea.
Well, I don't think I'm anything special, but like
actually, you are. Statistically, you are quite special.
It's only because it's a very rare case of that's why we need to get more young males out there. Like I met one last week without knowing. Just sold some stuff to him, and we're just talking, and I just randomly just said, so what do you do? And he said he was a disability support worker, and I was just like shocked because So I was like, I'd never see them,
Yeah.
never meet them, never hear about it. So I said, like I'm in it as well. And he works at a different company
Yeah.
and he loves it. He's got the same views as me. Just if you brighten up their day, you've done your job.
Done your job.
Yeah. Don't just see it as a paycheck. Just see it as like,
A vocation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know you do a bit of charity work as well as the disability support work.
Yes, I
So
have been, yeah.
can you tell me a little bit about what you've done? Because I know I've seen you with different coloured hair on many
Yeah,
occasions.
so I've had 3 different types of coloured hair. One being pink for breast cancer.
Yeah.
One being blue for my auntie's cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And green for gastritis. But for a little boy named Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And for each one it was a bit different. Like, kind of wanted to make them like fun, but also challenging, and to promote, people to do donations. It's like, you need to do something for the donations to make people want to see more from you. So from the pink one, I did for every $1 a push-up. And when the time ran out for the donations, I'd have to do it, start bang on, 24 hours to do it, including sleep.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, it's going to get to like $300. No, got to $900, $1,000 in fact, but the time ran out on 900. So I had to do 900 push-ups in the 24 hours and sleep. So what I did, midnight, bang, did 300, went to bed, woke up, shaved my head. Anyway, so I did the 900 push-ups, and then another one for the green hair, the gastritis. I did 20 laps of the Tasman Bridge, and yeah, that took me, I thought that wouldn't take me so long, but that took me seven hours. And I had burnt head. And the blue one, I'm pretty sure I just dyed my hair blue. There is another one I want to do, but I'm just trying to think of what's the next challenge to do.
Okay.
Because they'll both push me to my limits, as it should, because having those cancers or diseases is quite, it's horrible. So,
Well, fundraising is very important, and that you have a good handle on how to get a message out there, which is probably a good thing, getting the message out about men in disability support.
yeah.
Yeah, and it sort of highlights also your physicality and your strength, which are...
Well, that's another thing. It's like, I'm putting my body through it.
Yeah.
As they're putting their body through their disease and stuff, as people with disabilities are they're going with their bodies. So as much as I can use my body to help get some donations or help them, improve their day. And
Yeah. How's this process been for you, having me chasing you around and watching you and interviewing you?
Oh, it's not something I'm used to, because I've never made anything about myself. As much as I'm trying to make this about disability and my clients and stuff like that. But yeah, no, it's been a good experience, and I'm glad that someone actually saw it as something that could be something big and get the word out there to convince others to join the industry.
Thank you very much, and I have really appreciated your time. Can't begin to tell you how much. Thank you, Jaron.
Thank you for having me on.